Perfect. Oh, well, it's recording in progress if you're wondering. Um, how are you doing?
Good man, this is good.
Dude, I know you've been making that big push for Mexico, dude. I hope that you can get that, bro.
Yeah, man, like we're trying hard. I mean, the thing is this: even the UFC they make a post asking to the people who they want to see, and then my name pops everywhere. But we just hoping that they put attention to that because you know they asking the people,
Mhm.
so the people is being answered. So hopefully we get the call.
For sure. And I mean, especially when you have like a fan base like that, people supporting you, I feel like the UFC definitely takes, notice of those things. So I
Yeah,
think
for
that
sure.
I think that's pretty big. And I know that you've had this hype built around you for a while, just waiting for that call. Um, so I definitely hope you get that call within Q1, even if that's not Mexico, maybe 326 or, Seattle, London, wherever.
Yeah, I would love to be in Seattle too, because my boy and my brother Ricky Simon is gonna be there for sure.
Hmm.
So it will be another like dream come true. Like share car with him. That will be good.
And I know you've had the chance to corner Ricky. Um, how is that, soaking in that UFC experience, especially with a guy like Ricky?
I mean, it's really I would say I'm honored to be part of like Ricky camp. It's been such a big responsibility because we start like as main partners. I'm one of his main partners, he's one of my main partners, and then like a few years ago, then one day he decided to like ask me to be his coach.
Hmm.
So I've been there in his corner like about probably like 7 times, and then probably in the in the 7 times, like the first two I was as a just training partner, and the last five I've been as a coach. So which is like super like big responsibility for me, because like now I have to like as soon as we get a call for somebody for Ricky, like he send me the name. I have to study the guy. I have to start doing my homework, do my notes, and then like I start thinking about like what we need to work, and then it's like I'm like really blessed to have him, because like somebody like him, he's been in the UFC for so many years, and then he's been in the rankings too for so long, and then to ask me to be one of the coaches for his camp is like pretty like humble,
Yeah,
of his part, like I'm not even in the UFC, and then he asked me to be his coach, and then like he trusts me, even when I'm in the corner, he always mention it, like whatever you want to say, or if you see something, just let me know. And during the fight, so it's like something that I never see that happen before in my life, like while I'm like still a fighter. But
yeah,
definitely it's like a crazy experience for me.
for sure. And I mean, I know even being in the gym with him and, doing all those things, you can obviously soak up that experience. Especially with you trying to make your UFC push pretty soon, which I think will happen because you're a very hype prospect all over everywhere. You see this like support for you everywhere. As you talked about, when people say, "Who do you want to see?" and they're commenting your name and adding you on the post, it's pretty big. Um, you've been fighting in Up Next Fighting for a good amount of time. That promotion's put some good things together. What have you learned through that promotion and your recent wins?
To be honest, I'm always gonna be blessed and then grateful for Up Next. They opened the doors for me when I was coming out of like a big injury. I
Yeah.
was I was having my good ride, and then at Fury, and then in Texas, and then we have something happen. Unfortunately, it was a mistake by the referee in San Antonio, and then I got a big injury. And then after that, like a lot of people thought that like I was done. They probably that was the end of my career. And then a few months later, Up Next called me and they offered me the title fight to open the champion of the division flyweight. And then since then it's been a bliss. They offer me the title fight. We take it. We become a champion, and then since then, they're trying to push me a lot. Up Next has been doing really good job taking care of me. I like the company. They do really good job with the social media, like trying to do like the right marketing for us as a fighters, like to be known. And then like the production, the shows, they're like, like I've been fighting in all over the places. I fought like LFA, I fought Fury, I fought Combate, I fought like King of the Cage. I've been fighting all over the places. And then you know like up next is like for sure, like for me, one of my favorites. Maybe I would say my favorite, but like I don't know if is that's right, because I still fighting for them. But like they do really good job like taking care of the fighters, and they do really good job of like pushing us. So like my last few fights, they always on point, like trying to look for my opponents, because it's been hard right now. I'm in a weird spot where like a lot of people don't want to fight me, because I'm like a dangerous fighter, but
Right.
then probably like I don't know for a lot of for them. So it's like a weird spot, because people say like I'm gonna be next in the UFC. So if they will beat me, they probably gonna be the next in the UFC, but they don't want to take the risk. So it's been hard times like finding our opponents, and then up next has been doing a really good job like looking for the opponents, and then like making the fights happen for me so I can stay busy.
For sure. And I know that you talked about, that the injury and your adversity through your career. Does that fuel you in any way? Like some guys, when you have that injury or that part in your career, it fuels their mindset going into fights. Is that something that, happens with you?
Like when the injury happened for me, it was just like to be honest, like I just saw us another day in the office. Like we have a good days and bad days, and then I didn't let that injury like define myself, and then of course I didn't let that injury define my career. I just next day wake up and I say, okay, shit happens. So what's next? And let's start focus on the recovery, and then like I knew I wasn't done. I knew like that fight, like I was winning the whole fight. I make a mistake because I was trying to pleasure the fans and trying to show that I can wrestle, which I shouldn't do it. And then but you learn from your mistakes, and then I went back to work, and then like I just see as it is. It was a bad day in the office, and then like now we're back, and then like we're having like 5 wins on the road, and then you know that didn't affect me as much as people think. And then obviously like physically like didn't affect me. A lot of people thought that like they broke my arm or something like that, but like like it wasn't nothing then like it wasn't nothing like serious, really. It was just like a lot of like muscle tears,
Right.
which like it wasn't no ligaments, no tendons, no bones broken. So like it was just muscles. So it took me like 3 to 4 months to like recovery, and then like we back on track.
For sure. And I know that, some guys, especially like UFC guys, when they get that injury, it's kind of this thing of just like wanting it back. So it's always interesting to, hear how people deal with that. But let's start talking about, 2026 and your outlook for it. Obviously you want to get on Mexico, the Mexico card, and maybe not that, then the Seattle card. If Have you heard anything that, any call yet, anything from up next?
I mean, like right now we're just in like standby.
Hmm.
Like uh last year for the Madison Square Garden card,
Hmm.
and the short notice call against Malcolm. uh, I was one of the guys they call me to take that fight, and then we say yes right away.
Yeah.
I started going to the gym. I was cutting weight already to make the weight and everything. Of course, every time like someone pull out for the UFC and they have to call like a short notice guys, they have like a list. I mean, that's what I've been told.
Yeah.
And they call like a couple guys. They can't call just one guy. They call like a couple few guys. And I guess it was like one guy from New York. It was the professor Edwin, the guy that took
Yeah.
the fight, and
Yeah.
me and myself. you know. And then what I've been told, it was like the guy from I think from New York didn't get clear by the doctors, and then since they call Edwin first, the professor, they call
Yeah.
him before me. we just were waiting on his answer, because he didn't answer the phone yet right away. And then because he felt like 10 days before he was uh they need to get him clear by the doctors.
Right.
So we just were start cutting weight, and then we just start getting ready for the fight. And then like, unfortunately, like after like 1 hour, something like that, like they called me, they told me, you know what, the doctor's clear the professor, so he's gonna take the fight. But you know don't feel sad about it. You already showing us that, like, you're down to fight, because they called me on Thursday. The fight
Right.
was Saturday. She's like, you're showing us that you're down to fight in like a couple days notice. They like, you're down to fight at 135. And then so just be ready, because now we know who we're gonna call, like if we need a short notice. So right now, like, that's what I've been told. So like we just stay ready, and then like we stay like pretty light on weight. And then like in the next few UFC cards, if someone pull out, like, they know I'm gonna be ready. So hopefully we can get that. But like the best case scenario for me is like of course, like my dream will be like fighting in Mexico City. That's my city. I'm from Mexico City, born and raised. And then like the fans want me to fight there. Like the people want me to fight there. The media has been asking for me to fight there too. So it will be a dream too, because like, I've been in the US for almost 10 years. And then I don't have family in the US. I came by myself to the US. So my whole family is in Mexico. And then like they didn't see me fight in almost like 9 years. So if I go fight up there, like for sure, my whole family, my whole like people is gonna go see me fight there.
For sure. And I bet that's, a big thing for you. You obviously get to, show your skills in front of your home city, do it for the fans, do it for the media. And I know everybody had, I mean, that's how we heard about you. We keep hearing this name over and over again, UFC call, UFC call. So it's working. And I think that, that's big that you took that call against Malcolm Wellmaker, because he's a pretty dangerous guy. And obviously Ethan Ewan got it done, but who knows, maybe Johnny Vasquez would have gotten it done too. So
Yeah. It was a good matchup for me, to be honest. Like out of like all the matchups can be, it was a good matchup, because like I mean, the guy's a striker, like he like to box, but it's not a secret that like I can box. I'm a Mexican. I started boxing since like 12 years old, and then like I love to scrap. I never been knocked out, and then I don't think it was about to be the first time. So it was a good matchup. Everything happens for a reason, and then like I'm just stay ready and stay like positive. Like whoever they bring it to me, like I'm gonna be ready. I've been saying that before. Like we've been waiting for this chance for so long. So the longer the time it takes to get there, the more ready I'm gonna be.
100%. And, looking past, if nobody pulls out, are you looking for an up next fight, or would you want to wait till the contender series? Because I mean, that's ultimately what will happen.
Yeah, like that's the thing. Yeah, like if a short notice doesn't come, for sure, I'm gonna have my spot in contender series. But like I mean, it's like almost 7 months
Right.
till contender series starts. So like for sure someone's gonna pull out. Like it's a lot of like UFC cards. Like just in like the Mexico card, they have like 3 fights at bantamweight and then 3 fights at flyweight. So like it's like 12 people, and it's 12 chances to someone to get injured or sick or something. So like I'm just gonna stay ready and then think about like the short notice will come sooner than contender series. But if not, if contender series is gonna be, I will take it. Like at this point right now, I'm just ready, and then I just know that like my next fight has to be in the UFC. Either short notice or contender series, but my next fight is gonna be in the UFC. Like, and then it doesn't matter who they put in front of me. Anyone can get it.
100%. I love that mentality, especially on short notice. What's your walk around weight? You can cut down to flyweight as well?
Man, like right now, I'm like the thing is this, like I'm like 152 waking up,
Okay.
and for like flyweight, I only cut six pounds the day before of
Okay.
of the wings. So like literally, I diet down to like 132, 133. So like I make it way like super easy. Sometimes it's funny because I might look big, For a lot of people, they think that I'm a big flyweight and stuff like that. Yeah, I might look big, but like actually, I don't weigh as much. Or as soon as I do my diet, I drop weight so easy. Like when I used to fight at 135, bantamweight, I never cut weight. Never. I never was in the sauna. I never was in the hot tub to make weight at 136, you know? So that's why we decided to go down to 125 because at 120, at 136, I never cut weight. And then when I went down to flyweight, that's when we started using the sauna, the hot tub. And then I only cut 6 pounds the night before.
100%. And when you could fight either in the UFC, you think if somebody, you could be a guy that could bounce either weight class, is that, what you would think?
I mean, to be honest, I don't care. Like, I'm down to fight like anybody in the UFC. Ain't matter. But of course, I would tell you this right now. Like if they bring me a flyweight and the UFC, like I will fight anybody in the top 10 right now. Like right now, I will fight anybody in the top 10. Top five, I don't care. I will fight anybody right now. A flyweight, and a bantamweight is a different case, because a bantamweight, like the people are for sure, like, since I train with Ricky Simon, a bantamweight guy. And then Ricky's huge, and the thing is like, I've been in his corner, and then, for example, when he fought like Oliveira guy, bro, the Oliveira guy was like looking like a 50 fighter, you know? So like, so I know the people at Banaway they're way bigger, and then so I will have to adapt some things. I will have to gain some weight, and then for sure I'm down to scrap. But for sure, at flyweight right now, I'm a problem. At flyweight, I will see myself as a champion, like soon.
100%. I mean, I know that at flyweight, it's kind of a division right now that's in the air, especially, with Van winning the title, Pantoja, breaking his arm. There's a lot of wiggle room, maybe a new name to slip in there. So I'm excited to see what you can do there. I know we talked a little bit about Seattle, if we could get that card with Ricky, because I know Ricky will most likely, get that call because obviously last year when he put the lights out on Basharat, which was insane. I was there live. It was an incredible moment.
Yeah,
Um, I know that you're talking about that, and I don't want to say there's like a curse in Seattle, but last year there was like a bunch of pullouts on the card. Um, I know you're a guy that's ready whenever, and I'm wondering this personally because there's this other guy. I think he's at flyweight. His name is Bilal Hassan, and I think the UFC is looking to sign him. I don't know how that process works though. So would it only be on short notice, or can the UFC just sign a guy? Just
uh, to be honest, like right now, like I don't know how it's gonna work. Like like the short notice thing, for sure is something that like is always like an option, and then it's not like doubt that like it happens a lot. It's just like like it's a lot of people, like I'm always putting attention on what is happening, and they say that like they need to cut like a lot of people from the UFC, because it's a lot of people like over like 200 fighters that they just been sitting without fighting in like a couple years. So I know for sure they're gonna try to clean it out the roster. It's not a secret that every single time the contender series is done, they have to cut people because in contender series they sign up like 55 fighters, and now they need to make some space because it's a lot of people there. They're just like I say, just sitting. They're not been fighting for a couple years or something like that. So sometimes that's why it's hard right now at the beginning of the year, like sign up new fighters, but like like I know the guy you're talking about. I know he's trying to push it for like the Seattle card too. He's a 20 fighter, and man, like I will be a fighter like that. I would be more than welcome to fight against him, like if it's for the UFC you know like I
100%.
because I already did my homework, and then like like the kid has been doing his homework. He has a good record, but like I 100% believe that like like the competition we're facing is not the same you know it's
Right.
not the same. And then he's a pretty good name too, so like if he want to get it and then the UFC is down to put it together, like I'm down. Like I know who are the prospects right now at the division, and then any one of the prospects, if it's for the UFC, anyone can get it.
For sure. And I know you talked about fighting within the top 10 also with flyweight. So it seems that you're ready whenever, wherever. I think that'd be a great fight in between you and Bilal Hassan because I think you're two guys that, need that recognition in the UFC. And, it's interesting to me because I know that you guys are on the radar, obviously. How the UFC doesn't sign you guys and, set you a date. It kind of feels unfair to me that you guys get, the short notice instead of a full fight camp when there's, guys that I don't want to say don't deserve it or aren't active, you know, and they get a full fight camp. They're out for 21 months. You guys are grinding, fighting on the regional scene. I think it's a little bit interesting how the UFC works it, but the UFC is a great company, so I'd love to see that fight. Is there anybody in the UFC right now, flyweight, bantamweight, that you think you stylistically match up with, or is like a dream fight for you if you were to make your debut?
I mean, like I said, right now, anybody in the top 10 flyweight, like it will be the best for me. You know, like whoever you name it, like I'm down for it. It's like some people in the flyweight division, like like I would say before that, like like Pantoja is like a super good style. Like it's not a secret that he gets to your back. It's gonna be like probably like a finish, but stand up wise, like the guy hits hard, I hit hard. He has a chin, I have a good chin. And then like my takedown defense is good. Like so I like the style of Pantoja. Kai Kara France is like
Mhm.
another fun fight for me because it's I just like I'm a showman, and I would like to give the fans what they pay for. I'm not down to fight like somebody that's just gonna go up there, take me down and hug my legs. Like that's the Makayev, the
Mhm.
Russian guy.
Yeah.
That's. I mean, he's an amazing fighter and everything, but like that's the reason he got kicked out of the UFC because that nobody wants to see that shit. Nobody wants to see nobody hugging. Like people pay tickets and pay to see fights, and I respect that, he's doing MMA and he wins.
Yeah.
It's people that like it's players that they like to go and play the game and then just one like that, and then it's people like me, like to go up there, give the people what they want, which is show. You know, that's what I like the fight with the kid that you mentioned that he's
Yeah.
not in the UFC because he always tried to fight to finish fights, and then whoever ever watch me fight, they know, I'm gonna try to finish it. And then like the thing is, I'm gonna try to finish you in the ground. I'm gonna try to finish you stand up. I'm gonna use all the weapons I have to finish you. So it's for sure a lot of bunch of like good fights. It's like the Brazilian guy, which is the name? The guy that got beat.
When are you talking? I'm also trying to think. Wait, who did he fight? Or well, when did he fight?
Uh, his name is Silva. Like tall, is like a big ass
Oh,
120
Bruno
fighter.
Silva.
Yeah, I
Oh wait,
think so,
no.
right? He's
Yeah.
the one that
Yeah.
got beat, right? And the
Yep.
contender series. I
Yep.
mean, that guy. It looks like he hits like a truck, but that's a fun matchup for me. I would like to test myself against somebody like that. Like because I'm a dog, and then like for me, the bigger the challenge, the more excited it gets. So for me, and the more motivated I get to train. So like anyone can get it, and then anyone that is down to scrap with me, like I'm down to fight.
100%. I feel like that's kind of what the UFC, flyweight and bantamweight division needs, especially with flyweight right now being a little bit, I don't want to say stale-heeled, because I know Van's obviously going to fight again for Pantoja, but it's one of those things that it's like a moment that the division has changed. That Pantoja now broke his arm, belt kind of changed hands um, with Van. And I mean, that's like looking how you fight versus Joshua Van. It's like a dream fight down the road, I think. Because I
Yeah,
mean, you guys are both just high output dudes.
like Josh Ban is another fight that I've been talking before. Like they just put like a little clip on my IG that was doing an interview in Spanish, and then we've been talking about like Joshua Ban because like when I was fighting in Fury, he was the champ, and I asked like many times for him. I did my first two fights in Fury, and I won. And I did really good, and I asked for ban, and then they didn't want to give it to me. I remember in that time, me and him, we used to have the same manager. So I called my manager and I said, "Hey, give me Joshua Ban. I want to fight Joshua Ban." And then they told me that time that like he wasn't about to fight me because they were like saving him for contender series. They're like, no, he's not gonna fight. He already has like his contender series. He's just gonna sit and wait for contender series. And eventually he got the short notice, I think. That's why he didn't end up fighting in contender series. But like I was asking for him so many times, it was it's a lot of interviews when I was fighting in Fury, and then like in the interviews I was asking for him. I was asking for him, so like now that I see him as a champion, and then like you see I used to fight in the same company as him and everything. So I'm like, okay, like I knew I was in the right track. And then like, and when the time comes and we go to the UFC, I know it's gonna be a really fun fight. The guy is a good, it's stylistically is like a really good style for me, and it's a good style for the fans.
100%. I feel like I've seen this, pattern throughout your interviews. You're like this close to every guy, Malcolm Wellmaker, you were that close. Joshua Van, you're this close, and you're just waiting on the call, which is probably the hardest thing for you, I bet. It's just,
Yeah,
waiting.
it's been crazy though, because like I would say in the last 3 4 years for me, it's like I see so is in the last 3 years for sure. I see so many people in the UFC that we used to be in the same car. It's like I would say, like, for example, like when I was fighting in Fury, I was the main event, and then Cody Steele was in the prelims you know
Yeah,
like, so I'm like, man, I was fighting the main event of the company, a small promotion, and then like Cody Steele was in the prelims, and now Cody Steele is in the UFC doing a really good job, like. And then like I used to fight in like in one promotion in Mexico called Lux, and then Alessandro Costa, Diego Lopez was fighting there too. They were the champions. So I've been crossing paths with so many UFC fighters. We've been in the same promotions. And then like so right now for me, it's just like, man, I just need to be patient. But like, how long? How long more? Because like I ain't getting younger. But for sure, I'm still on my prime. I'm on my prime right now, and then like mentally, physically, I feel like this is the best moment for me to get in, because like I feel the strongest mentally and physically. And then like we gotta take advantage of that. But it's crazy how many paths I've been crossing with a lot of like really good UFC fighters right now.
for sure. I only got one or two more questions for you here because it's been a great interview. You know, you look towards 2026, it's down the road, obviously, and you got a lot of things, coming this year. I think you will be signed to the UFC within the year, no matter where that is. I mean, as you talked about, there's a lot of guys that pull out through, however many cards in the year. I think it's like 40 something, including pay-per-views and fight nights. And you seem like a guy who's ready to, you would take it like Dan Ige style, like 10 minutes before the fight.
Let's
That's,
do it. Yeah.
I know you're one of those guys. So, when you look through 2026, what's your ideal 2026? How many fights and when are you, I mean, obviously the Mexico City card or the Seattle card, but, how many fights are you trying to get in? And, what does an ideal 2026 look like for you?
I mean, for me, my idea is like, we make it to the UFC, and then as soon as we're in the UFC, I'm a company guy. The longer I stay healthy, I'm down to fight every month if they want me, you know? Like, soon as they sign my ass up, I'm gonna be ready. I'm gonna be training, and then like the healthiest I can, I would say I would like to fight 4 times a year,
For sure.
every 3 months. That would be the best, so that give me some time to like, like 1 month to recover, and then like do like some like recovery and adjustments and whatever we need to work, and then 2 months to get ready. Like every
Uh-huh.
3 months is a month for recovery to like fix things, and then 2 months to get ready for the fighter. But for sure the first step is gonna be get signed up by the UFC. And as soon as you get signed up, like we're gonna need to be busy. I'm down to fight anybody, anywhere, and then like anytime. I'm a full-time fighter. I hate when people say they're full-time fighters, but they don't want to fight, or they don't want to train. My only job here is like train, sleep, and repeat. That's all I do, brother. That's all I do. And then like the longer I keep doing the same thing, like I'm ready to fight anywhere, anytime, and anybody.
Sure. I mean, this is it's incredible to me how the UFC hasn't signed you. I mean, just the way that you speak, and especially if you got on a mic against somebody, you're ready to go whenever. I think that this is, a big opportunity coming in for you in 2026. And this is my final question. I ask this to everyone, especially the guys on the prospect series, guys that are right on the bridge. if you had the message to Dana, the fans, what are you sending them? What's the message to everybody?
My message like today now is like it will be like if you want an exciting Mexican fighter that is down to die in the cage for the fans, that's me. So like, if you need somebody, anybody, anytime, anywhere, like just call me because I'm waiting for you. And then the whole fans and then the whole media, everybody's waiting for me to get to the big show. So like, give me my chance.
For sure. Well, that's all I got for you today, Gianni. It was amazing talking to you. I'm really excited. This interview puts into full perspective why everybody's talking about you right now, and I think that it's all going to come together here in the next few months. And don't be surprised if we see you get signed to the Mexico card or the Seattle card or wherever, to be honest, because
Yeah, any car, dog, any car. I'm down to go anywhere.
I know
I'm ready to go. And then thank you so much, you, for like this space. I always say like, us as a fighters, we're nothing without you guys. Because like people forget that like the fighters we get paid by the tickets. And then you guys in the media, you guys put a lot of eyes on us, and then like without you guys, we wouldn't do nothing. We wouldn't be fighting. So thank you for the space, and then like hopefully next time we talk, we're talking about like our next fight in the UFC.
for sure. Once you get signed, I'm going to hit you right up. As soon as I said I told you so. I'm going to hit you up right as I see
Yeah,
it.
let's
And then,
go.
I told you so, and we'll have to hop back on another interview. My
Yeah,
co-host, wherever the hell he is, he's not here right now, but you'll get to
yeah,
meet him. He's pretty cool, dude. So yeah, it was awesome talking to you. So I'm really happy to see what you got going in 2026.
yeah. Thank you, brother. And I
Yep,
hope I see you in Seattle. If you come
yep,
to Seattle again, I will be there.
for sure. I think I'm going to cover the event. I'm hoping to get UFC credentialed, and hey, maybe if I'm there, we can meet in person. We can talk.
Yeah, for sure, bro. For sure, I'm gonna be there. If Ricky's there, I'm gonna be there.
I know, yeah, that's what I thought, and I know Ricky's going to be on the card
Yeah, we're waiting. We're just waiting for a name.
for sure.
We're just
All
waiting
right,
for a name. All right,
all right.
brother.
Thank
Take
you.